it's not so much my mom's story that I want to make sure gets shared, because I know there's lots of other stories, unfortunately, that are similar to my mom's. But I think it's the fact that today it's too easy for us just to look at it and say, oh, there's another one, and then just kind of write it off. Because what people don't understand is if you're not involved in that incident, it's not just another one. It's like the one. And I mean, we worry about other things, curing other things and fixing other things, but this one here doesn't need any scientists anywhere to come up with anything. It's just something that we can all cure ourselves. As a firefighter paramedic, a lot of times I'm the first one on scene when something like this happens. I know when it happened to my mom, paramedics were the first ones on scene for her too. So, and a lot of the reason I became a paramedic was because of my mom, who was a nurse. So when it was time after her death and I had to decide, okay, I had to grow up and decide what am I going to do, I had thought about nursing because she went into it. I thought about a few other things, and this one kind of hit on me as being very exciting for me. But unfortunately, in my line of work, I'm usually the first person that responds, not just when it's death, just even when it's just a woman being assaulted in the home and the police arrive there, then they call for us and stuff like that. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to be the good, unbiased guy, especially, especially if I'm dealing with him, or if he's injured. And I mean, we did one not too long ago where they actually called it because the man hurt his wrist. But what they didn't tell us until we got there was he hurt his wrist beating on her. Volunteering at the shelter was probably the best, I think, 5 or 6 years that I've done anything. And if you'd have asked me, when I was younger, are you going to volunteer? I would have thought, I'm not getting paid, why would I do that? But I couldn't stop hanging out at the shelter. I mean, I loved being a part of everything that they were doing. Just being the treasurer was great, being a member of the director was great, but going in there and seeing the workers, seeing the people that were staying there, that it was almost like a second home. And the best part was knowing that my mom had been there. So here's a shelter that I get to help out at, knowing that a long time ago my mom actually walked in there one time. And the lady that was the executive director actually remembered my mom. So it was comforting in the same time that it was also a little bit surreal. But I loved every part of it. And speaking, I love the speaking part. I get nervous about, but I love sharing the story. I love it because if one person listens to it and says, that sounds like what I'm doing to my wife, or that sounds like what my daughter's going through, or if just one thing, if one person listens to it and makes a change, then it's well worth all the nerves, because I know what happens when my mom is the victim in the whole story, and I've never forgotten that. I also know the repercussions of everybody else around it that's gone through it. So it just saves a lot of turmoil for everybody, especially the woman.